Hi everybody, welcome to week 7, module 7. This is your last week of new content. Week 8, a week from today, you'll just have your final case analysis to do. So this week we're going to be looking at organizational change and organizational culture. Two of my favorite topics. We talked about organizational structure in the Essentials class, and so we'll focus on different parts of the chapter in this module. So two of my favorite topics here, organizational change and organizational structure. So we'll take a look at those two chapters again, just that one portion of chapter 14. This is the final characteristic of a principled leader, which is servant leadership. So we've got some resources for you to explore that topic. So the first assignment is the discussion board describing organizational culture. So you've got a model here. I'm going to ask you to identify the artifacts of an organization's culture. So these are the physical manifestations, the structure, the language, ceremonies, stories that are indicative of the underlying shared values and assumptions. So identify and describe an organization, tell me about, or us, about some artifacts, and then try to identify the shared values and assumptions that are underwater. Here's an example of a clip that I've used to talk about different artifacts of two different organizations, the Letterman Show and GE. The individual assignment is to complete a force field analysis. So this is identifying a change that you would like to see. And so you can use the attachment here to put together the force field analysis. So basically you're identifying the equilibrium point is kind of a line that goes vertically. Identify the driving forces for that change. Who's working with you or pushing for the change, and then what are the forces pushing against the change. So identify a change you'd like to see, identify the driving and restraining forces, and then think about how you will shift the equilibrium point. Right? So how are you going to either push harder on the driving forces or try to reduce the restraining forces? Who will resist your change, and how will you handle the resistance? So this is a planning document for a planned organizational change. And then finally, Journal 7, reflect on the role of servant leadership and your personal leadership style. So actually all of the characteristics of principled leaders at the Citadel are components of and behaviors that are part of servant leadership. So the first question is a review. So go back to 3 of the characteristics of principled leaders from previous journals and provide an example or evidence that you have demonstrated these. Reflect on working with or for a servant leader, and would you like to increase servant leadership in your own leadership approach? So that's this week, week 7. Let me know if you have any questions.